Armory upgrades or line upgrades? Which one should you choose first? Well, at a first glance, a direct comparison between copper mail and medium infantry for hoplite, for example, shows both have the same exact cost. But the copper mail only increases the effective HP of a hoplite by 10%, and the medium increases the HP and the attack by 10%, and a line of sight bonus if you want to include it too. So, you are paying the same price for two different upgrades, and one offers more than the other. So, it's obvious which one is better. And that is even worse for copper weapons, which is even more expensive than copper mail, and only offers 10% more attack. In fact, medium upgrade is like copper mail, copper shield, and copper weapon all combined, with a bit more line of sight also included. This fact is illustrated by this fight. So here we have two hoplites, one with full copper upgrades and one with medium upgrade, and each time we run the battle, one of the two hoplites wins. So it's a random chance, and it can show that both of them are nearly the same effect. In this case, the copper upgrade hoplite won by 1 HP. So, line upgrades is always the first upgrade you should research, right? Well, most of the times, like 95% of the times, but not always. One factor we haven't taken into consideration is that armory upgrades affect all human soldiers and heroes, whereas line upgrades only affect a certain type of units. Infantry, cavalry, archers. For Egyptians, it's even more specific. It's only spearmen, axemen. For each unit, there is a line upgrade. So, if you are making an army of 1-1-1 ratio, an army of Toxokids, Hoplite, and Hippikon, which is a common Greek strategy, then copper mail from an armory you were gonna build anyways to age up, seems a better deal than doing the medium upgrade for all these units. But, you also need to focus on the opponent army type. If you are facing a Norse with a 1-1-1 army, then the copper mail is better than medium for all the types of units, for Toxokids, Hippikon, and Hoplite. Because the Norse is only going to attack you with hack units, attack dealing units, like throwing axemen, raiding cavalry. They don't have any other type of attacks except when they get ballista, but then you'll have different composition. So, getting the copper mail in this case is better than getting the line upgrades for all your units, as you are effectively increasing the HP of all your units. Another interesting facet of Age of Mythology is all heroes unit strategy. These strategies come with two main civilizations. The first one is with Loki. It is a popular strategy that only involves Hersers. You build only Hersers from your temple, research Hall of Saints, and basically raid your opponent until flaming weapons. Another all-hero strategy in Age of Mythology is Priest Siege, where you basically build only priests and siege towers, of course, but they don't affect it by line upgrades or armory upgrades, so we're basically focusing on the priest. For these strategies, armory is a bit interesting, because if you saw my last video, armory upgrades affect heroes by 15%, not 10%. They are even better for heroes. In these cases, of course, it is better to research armory upgrades, and even if you want to build later units, so later you want to build raiding cavalry or chariot archer for Egyptians, it is better to start with the armory upgrades first. Finally, there is also the case with Thor, with cheaper armory upgrades and cheaper armory. It might seem tempting to research armory upgrades before line upgrades when they are cheaper, but unless you are going for an all Herser strategy, which by the way you can do for Seti also, it's less potent than Loki, but it can be done. But if you are not going for an all Herser strategy, even with the reduction for two unit types, which basically are all the unit types for Norse, you have infantry and cavalry, you don't have anything else, line upgrades are always better for Norse. The only reason to do armory upgrade before line upgrade, as I told you, is if you go through 4 settings. But basically, if you do a raiding cavalry throwing axeman strategy, Ulfsark, anything else, it is always better to do line upgrades. The reason why is even with the discount, they are simply not a better deal. The discount isn't enough for them to make it a better deal. It would have to be even lower. It has to be at least 75 gold and food to basically make it even considerable. But even then, they are not worth it because if you are facing Toxicants and Hoplite, you'd have to do Copper Mail and Copper Shields to gain the extra HP. So even then, it's not worth it. So yeah, and basically you get free line of sight with line upgrades. So even with Thor, stick with line upgrades.
That's all for this video. I hope you learned something, and if you did, be sure to leave a like, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.